Now, in Imo, we understand the police has begun area surveillance in the state, warming up for a show of force ahead of Saturday's election. INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission in the state, has also briefed journalists on its level of preparedness for tomorrow's election. There are 1,833,160 voters who are expected to turn up for the exercise tomorrow. It's the first time the election is happening on the same day across 3 geopolitical zones, and ad hoc staff have been charged to demonstrate high level of professionalism and neutrality, just as INEC says it's not a political party. Well, let's find out more what's happening in these 3 days and explore how the stakeholders just seem to be doing. Godswill Otubere is global president ready to lead Africa. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you again.
So what do you make of preparations? We're hearing INEC is saying, you know what, we're super ready. The deployment we're seeing is also top-notch. We have situations where up to 9 resident electoral commissioners are sent to support the resident electoral commissioner in each of the state. How do you feel about the preparation, both on the part of INEC and the police?
So I'll speak futuristically, and I'll speak idealistically, and I'll speak realistically. Idealistically, it is not the right kind of environment that you expect when people are participating in a civil affair, like choosing who will be their leader, right? You expect that we should not be deploying 24,000 policemen. There shouldn't be area surveillance using helicopters. We shouldn't send 9 RECs to go support. No, we shouldn't be doing that, idealistically speaking. So what is my realistical observation and my position? It looks like we are, trying to make sure that all loose ends are, sorted out, and that people can have the confidence to go out there and vote tomorrow. And it shows also that INEC, on one hand, is trying to say, look, we don't want any sort of, loose ends now. You can't tell me you don't have enough support. You can't tell me, 25,000 ad hoc staff for 3 states. And then you have RECs going to support. So it means that the RECs who are, doing the work on the ground have support, and they can say, look, you can't threaten me, or you can't overpower me or overrun me, because I have support from my colleagues. So that's good. Futuristically speaking, I would hope that we wouldn't have this level of show of force like is read on the prompter. The police does not need to show force when people want to vote who will become their next leader. Idealistically speaking,
because when you consider the days leading to this election in Kogi and Imo, it's disturbing to see, not just because usually we blame it on security agencies, but we need to also ask how civil have the stakeholders been. When you talk about violence, clashes among political parties, and some secessionist individuals have even threatened that elections will not hold in some of these areas. So you don't blame the police if they show force, do you?
No, I do not. That's why I said I'm looking at it from 3 different angles. So, of course, when I say the realistic side of me is saying, of course, show force, so that those who want to foment trouble would understand that we will defeat them. For those who seek peace and security, we will support them. That is what the police is saying, and I totally agree with that. It's been disturbing. Our organization, Ready to Lead Africa, with support from our partners, the Nigerian Future Fund, we've been working in these states, mobilizing voters to go to the polls, get your PVC, voter education. We're working on the peace accord with the candidates now. We're working on, follow the results and all of that. It is simply because we believe that what the police is doing is important for us to do our work. 2 days ago, Kogi East Senatorial District, 3 people died. That's not good. People shouldn't die because they want to vote or because we want to elect a new person. So I agree with you that looking at what has happened, if the police is saying we're showing force, then that's good, so that we can have at least voter confidence, so that people can come out tomorrow and vote.
Usually we'll talk about violence, ballot box snatching and the killings you mentioned. But another terrible issue we're dealing with now is fake news. Hours and days before the election, you begin to hear stories like someone, has dropped out of the race, or this is what the government is saying, this is the position. It would seem that we've not been able to checkmate this challenge over the years.
It's a big challenge globally. I mean, fake news is the blessing and the curse of social media and access to the tools that enable us to be freer, to talk more, to engage more. So it is not a situation where we say it is unique to Nigeria, Kogi State, or Igbo, just as we're having this election. What it tells us is that there is a very, very difficult reality that we have to deal with. And that is why what we are now doing is that we're investing in, beyond just observing the process or educating voters to come out and vote. What we're not doing is we're investing in detecting fake news and addressing it in real time. So our situation room, we're going to have the data crunchers. As election results coming from the collation center, the LGA collation centers and the ward and the polling units, as we crunch that and put it into our database, we're also having a team that will be focused on just fact-checking news that come out from from midnight today, of course, even before the election day. So I believe it is something that, of course, media houses like yours and other partner media houses are working assiduously to ensure that they're educating people to say, look, this is the right information, this is not the right information.
The Nigerian populace seem to be quite active on social media, but do you think that they've also been able to mature into understanding that not every information is valid and you probably will have to verify, before consuming it? How do you think that gap can be bridged?
It is constant information, constant education. People need to know that headlines are no longer what you should just click.
They are now clickbait.
They're not clickbait, right? I was reading what they said a particular governor from the north said. And the headline said the governor wants 13% oil derivation monies from the Niger Delta. And I'm like, okay, I clicked on it. And what the guy is saying is completely different. He's just simply saying, look, if you've given the Niger Delta 13% derivation, I need 13% derivation for the hydro power plants that is in my state and all of that. But if you don't click to read, you would understand that the headline is misleading. Nigerians are growing into the realization now that, some headlines are just clickbait. And so how are we faring? We're, like I said, the curse and the blessing of access. It is something that free societies must deal with. And how you correct that is through education. Not just palliative education, not the one you implement when the damage is done. It is quality education from primary, secondary, tertiary institutions, so that people are capable of using critical thinking when they are, accessing or engaging with information.
Unfortunately, because of how passionate people are when it comes to politics, they just want the fake news to be true.
I know, right?
In most cases.
I know.
But then, interestingly, the off-cycle election is coming up 8 months after the big one we had in February. INEC is saying it's learned its lessons. But what do you think are the biggest lessons we learned in February and March that must be, an improvement point for us this Saturday?
I mean, for stakeholders like us who work in the space, currently we're working in the civil society space, development space, engaging with institutions like INEC. I think since the elections I've met with INEC leadership, I think like more than twice, if I'm correct. And we've sat down with the chairman to say, look, these are some of the issues that we observed and all of that. And he was really forthright to say these are some of the challenges that we also faced And we told them straightforward, you go talk to the Nigerian people. The things you're telling us, you go tell them. We know some of the things we observed. Look, we were accredited to observe the elections in the 774 local governments in the country. There were collation centers that our accredited observers were denied access. INEC accredited observers were denied access. I just hope it doesn't happen tomorrow.
Denied access by who?
By INEC officials and security officials. And then you come back, and when you're engaging with INEC leadership, and you realize that INEC is actually managing something that is really humongous, right? So INEC has learned that, look, maybe some responsibilities may need to be properly managed better, deployment should be better, remuneration, training for ad hoc staff. Part of what we said to the leadership when we have the CSO roundtable was, don't train people who are going to manage elections just 1 week or 2 weeks to the process. Train them for a couple of weeks. Let them test the reality of what they're about to experience, you know. Let it not just be something you do, you know, and then it's done. So INEC has learned a few things. You know, when I speak today and I talk about INEC, what I do is that I don't speak for INEC. I speak when it comes to INEC with a lot of, you know, you just hold your breath a bit and say, oh, let me see what they do now.